Hi, I'm Chef Leo.
Hi, I'm Chef Theo, and this is The Confessions of a Private Chef. Episode 8. This episode is on kitchen equipment. How you doing, Chef?
It's season 1, by the way.
Oh, yeah, season 1. I thought that... we want to re-hit?
No, let's keep going,
let's
guys.
Let's keep going.
This is badass. Here we go. So, I'm doing great, brother. It's been a great day. We record every Tuesday, and today, capturing some of the guys. It's crazy because if you keep up with the episodes, it's going to go from 6, which, we have Chef JC from Becker, and then it's going to skip 1, and then 8 is going to be Buddy J, who is here today with us. So it's crazy. So you'll get these guys on, or you get JC twice, in other words, and so it's going to be kind of cool. But it's been a great day. I mean, it's been actually a question. It's been a great day because we have a lot of really great people here.
Yeah, and JC decided to hang out for our interview with Jay, which I'm super stoked about.
I know, man. We should be, we went outside to have a little smoke and a drink, and we told some cool stories, and it's like, shit, I need to put a microphone out there and you just hit record in here, and whatever the fuck comes out, capture that. Call that a different session. But anyways, great day so far, guys.
Cool. So Jay, tell us a little bit about, this episode is obviously on kitchen equipment, and what better of a person to bring in than you, because you design and you create and you make the best cast iron that I've ever touched, I've ever cooked on. Hands down the best.
Right. You're making him sound like Jesus, man.
Well, when you use the pan.
Yeah, it's great to get it into people's hands. That's the key, is using it. And one of the things with what we do at Fredericksburg Cast Iron is you got to use it. You got to experience it. And what we call smooth cast iron, which we machine and polish on our CNC machines in our machine shop, but using it and experiencing it, that's the biggest thing, because there's a lot of people who just they're not sure. Why is this a little more expensive? Why would I pay for that? And it's the experience.
It's like food in our industry. If you don't eat it, if you don't try it, then you're not going to know what the hell you're buying, what you're going for. So
you got to know. Yeah, why would you pay X more for a meal? It's got to be X better.
Right.
And I think that. What we've aimed for, and I think what we've been able to do, is make something that's better than an inexpensive piece of cast iron.
Right. And if you think you can't afford this thing, I mean, seriously, it's like eating out one time at a really nice restaurant, or maybe less, a lot less. Eating out for one person at a really nice restaurant, and then or going to McDonald's like 4 times.
Yeah,
so 4 times. What do you order? No shit, man. That means $30-$35, man. You feed 2 girls.
Yeah, we got growing kids. It goes up every single time we go to get fast food, but it lasts forever. That's the thing. So you're buying an experience that will last your lifetime plus,
right?
And I think that's the fun part, and that's what people get really excited about in the conversations we have about our product is people. There's a legacy. How many stories I've heard from people that come up and say, I'm using my grandmother's or my great aunts. And, when I went, and I think this is some stories, similar to what you tell, Leo, about your experience about eating and going places and having meals that they remember them. And, when I went to my I hear this all the time. When I went to see my grandma and she made biscuits for us, she made them in cast iron. They were the best biscuits I ever had in my life. And I still have long-term memories about that. And I hear that story from people all the time. And so they get excited about, creating their own legacy with our product, which I love. I think that's the best. And I think it means that. It's not just something that, you buy, I'm going to, I got a recipe to sear a steak and I'm going to use it just for that. This is meant for everything, and creating that legacy and those memories for your family.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. When my grandmother passed, I really never met her, but I was starting to cook at the time, and my aunt in France at the time sent me her chef knife, her paring knife, and her sabatier cast iron pan. And I have all 3 to this day.
It's incredible.
Memories, man.
The memories are incredible. And there's something obviously with food, which you guys talk about all the time, and you prepare, and that's what you do for a living. But it's food is one thing, but then how do you prepare it and do it right? And I think, having tools that are nice, high quality, the people who create them have put some love into them, which is what we do. It just makes that meal and those things that you're making and cooking even more important and more special, I think. And everything you can do to make meals and time together, which we don't have enough of, special is really, really important.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Really quick, man. Before we go on, let's we'll stop talking about the cast iron just for a second because I really want to know like the whole backstory with Jay. I mean, so I'm thinking it would be cool to how'd you got started first of all? I mean, did you do anything before what you're doing now in your profession? Because I mean,
yeah, it's crazy.
Story,
we I lived in Dallas before moving to Fredericksburg, and it's awesome to live in this community. And so we were in Dallas, and I was actually working in healthcare, and we have a family business. That's where we make the Fredericksburg cast iron. So we've got a family business that's a CNC machine shop. And so as my father-in-law was looking to retire and transition out, we were, as a family, deciding what are we going to do. And so my wife and I and our family moved from Dallas to take over the machine shop. So we do stuff for aerospace, natural gas, compression, fracking, a bunch of different industrial applications, that kind of thing. And during the pandemic, the business slowed down significantly on all those fronts. Everybody just kind of was ducking for cover and hiding and scared, and all the feelings that we all have about what happened with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was looking for opportunities. What else could we, keep our guys going and working, use our equipment, use our facility, and use our capabilities, which are extensive. We've got a lot of manufacturing capabilities and lots of guys who know how to do really creative things. And so I came across other what I call smooth cast iron, and I said, wait a minute, that's something that I think we could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started investigating, going down a path, and all the pieces. It was sort of got to the point where it was almost like we can't not do this just because we
have to try at least.
Yeah, we have the equipment, we have the capabilities, we have the relationship with the foundries here in Texas that do the work for us on doing the castings, and we do everything else here in Fredericksburg. But so we had those relationships, and just the pieces just kept falling into place that this is gonna go. And so we got our first skillet, which is the number 10 skillet, was our first product, and we got them, went through the process that we do. We have a 10-step process to take it from a raw casting to the finished good, including seasoning, pre-seasoning. And I think we had about 35 initial units. And I didn't want to do a pre-sell or do a, like not a GoFundMe, but where you take the money up front and they invest and they get a product. And I'm drawing a blank on the names of those, but
startups.
So I wanted to have product, and then what we had we would sell. And so we did Kickstarter. Yeah. So I didn't want to do a Kickstarter. And some of our competitors had done Kickstarters, and I just, it just wasn't my style. I wanted to say, we have the product available, you order it, and we're going to ship it to you.
You just didn't want to fail and then not be able to give back to the people who invested.
And then some of our competitors have taken a Kickstarter and it's taken them 3 years or longer, or they fail completely. Yeah. So I just didn't like that model, and I wanted to do limited releases. And so the first limited release, we had 35 units that were done and ready to go. And we got on social media. We did a lot with Instagram. We still do, and that was our main driver. And we made those available, and they sold in about 10 minutes. So,
heck yeah.
So that first batch. And so, again, all the pieces coming together, and then the first sale opportunity, they were gone. And so that was, just like, a vote of confidence. Like, this is something we're going to keep going and pursuing.
And there was no marketing on that. I mean, I think you posted one or two things.
It was very limited marketing and just on social, just on Instagram, and the local community. But it was more than that. It was really the Texas thing. We play up Made in Texas, USA. We think that's important and critical, frankly. It's got to be made in the USA if it's cast iron, in my opinion. And then the Made in Texas was huge. And then the Fredericksburg stuff actually, obviously brings something else. And then all the things that we, already talked about, we'll talk about more about cast iron. It was kind of a perfect storm of opportunity, and people were jumped all over it. So we did in that 2021 timeframe, we did 4, 5, 6 limited releases, and then after the first of the year, then we had enough product where we were then always available, and then continue to grow the portfolio from there.
Yeah, I remember when I first met you, it was like, okay, how many are you going to release? And, because I have people already asking.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh man, we don't have enough, and I can't make them fast enough right now because you were really careful with how.
Yeah,
you
and Leo was huge in jumping in. He was. we did started doing some posting, and he was like, I gotta, we didn't know each other before that, and he's like, I need to know who this is. I need to know what you're doing. I need to know what your plan is. I need product. I need to test this out. I'm all about this. What can I do to help?
Be my pimp, right?
And we, and so we met up, and obviously it's been a great relationship with Leo's support, and a professional chef jumping in and saying, hey, I want to check this out and validate it, and he's done it. Is significant. I mean, he's done it for a number of years now.
I do my best.
Put it in front of a ton of people, and which has been awesome. And also had a lot of support from some other local business people who wanted the product.
Yeah.
One of our first retailer, our first retailer was Black Chalk Home and Laundry here in Fredericksburg.
Yeah, she's a badass. We're gonna have her on pretty soon.
Yeah, and Jill and Candy and their team are just incredible, and they've sold so many units out of that store. And it's a little different because it's not a cooking store. It's kind of a
furniture store,
home goods, but they just do an incredible job. You walk into that store, you got to be careful because you'll
walk out with something, man.
You're walking out with something. They're
better hope it's a Fredericksburg cast iron, right?
Tons of people have. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's been awesome. And she immediately was like, I need to get this in the store. What can we do? And it took a little bit of time for us to get up enough to do retail.
And you were really picky because I remember when it first asked you about the first retail opportunity, it's like, no, you don't want to feel,
Well, and we've had other people ask here in Fredericksburg, hey, can we put it in the store? And I've had to say no, because I really respect the Fredericksburg retail market where you got to have unique items.
Yep.
And what Black Chalk did and Jill and her team, I love that they were so supportive out of the gate, and they've continued to be supportive, and so. We want to support back and be unique there, and I think it's been great.
Cool.
Me, when I found out that I was moving here, I decided to do some research. Like local farms, local pottery makers, local plate makers, local
everything maker,
anything here that I can use in the kitchen. And I saw you guys online right away, and before I even left California, I said, "Hey, I'm going to be the new chef at Vineyard 29, and I use nothing but cast iron." And
not until right now
did you get it. I never got a response,
but
no.
Jay probably saw that. Who's this fucking, Cholo trying to get free shit, man, online.
Super excited about trying it because
they're amazing.
Especially the way I cook. I do a lot sous vide, so I need something hot and
just to shoot the shit out of that stuff.
Yeah. In a heartbeat, and cast iron is the only thing.
This shit's the shit.
It's the only thing.
I'd love to see it. See some of that, sous vide, and then come out and hit one side, hit the other, and put it on the plate.
I'll send you a picture tomorrow.
Excited to see that
thing first thing.
Dude, if this cast iron pan was cocaine, man, it'd be the Colombian Prime.
Yeah, that's right. It'd be Pablo.
Yeah, Pablo Escobar would be delivering the shit himself.
You're the Pablo of cast iron.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see more. I think one of the things you talked about, the farms and the meat products that are local, and obviously the wine and other things. But I would love to see more products coming out of Fredericksburg. I think that was kind of one of my kind of inspirations a little bit. Is there was you did some city and county stuff and planning, and when one of the people said, instead of, the whole thing, we have this whole chains on Main Street that they try to eliminate to make it unique. Mm-hmm. Also kind of going back to the unique products in the different stores. And
right. The Golden Block doesn't have any type of stores.
But I think it's like, hey, instead of worrying about chains coming here, we need to build stuff here and then export it to other markets and leverage the Fredericksburg name appropriately. And that's something that we want to do is we celebrate the community, not trying to use the name. There are a number of people, I think, that try to use and leverage the name, but don't love it back.
Yeah, totally.
And our thing is we live here, and we're going to live here, and our kids live here and go to school here and everything else. And so it's we want to celebrate this community because there's a ton to celebrate.
Give back.
But I would love to see more products. Totally. I love the wine industry. I think it's awesome, and it's only growing from where we are. I really think we're in the first or second inning of the whole wine thing. You go out to Napa and every piece of property is another winery. Right. And I think that we're only scratching the surface on that. I know a lot of people don't want to see that. They don't think that that's great, but I just think that's the reality of what happens. More begets more. And I think the community supports each other generally. I don't know in all great detail, but, and I love, you love Garrison Brothers and what they're doing, and you love the Allstott and the beer. But, I think the more we can do, around different products, I think is exciting, and I like to see more of that because we've got so many ingenious entrepreneurs that live in this community.
Totally.
That I'd like to see, hopefully we can spawn some things.
Yeah, and I don't see why we can't. I mean, if you did this,
yeah.
I mean, we have wineries. I mean, we have products when it comes to the food industry, food and drink industry, right? All the wineries, Fisher and Weezer making some great, sausage.
Yeah, another manufacturer. They do great things.
But when it comes to like a physical product that you consume every day and a tool, who else do you know besides maybe the gun company that was here? Right. I mean, make products that are exported, anywhere.
And I don't think people know how frankly simple it is to get a really, really high quality e-commerce website up and running and create a market.
Yeah.
With social media.
Overnight, man. Overnight.
I mean, if you got a cool product and something that people want, and the marketing and the social side and the vehicle to do the e-commerce is so incredibly easy today, and really almost no cost. It's amazing. So there's that opportunity's there. People say, I don't know what my market would be. Like, make a badass product and and
who do you want to sell it to?
Made here, and who do you want to sell it to, and get after it. It's there. There's the opportunity, which is you can bemoan some kind of sides of technology and some sides of social media, but leveraging those to do business and create a cool business, it's super easy.
And especially here in Texas, Texas was just rated one of the most successful entrepreneurship people.
Oh yeah,
and here in the state, I mean in the country. I'm sorry. So I mean that says a lot because here in Texas we're really, I mean we're hustlers. I'm sure every state has their rep or whatever we do, but I mean we are truly hardworking.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the things on the branding, in the beginning I was like calling it Fredericksburg cast iron, made in Texas, USA. I think like well, maybe that's kind of number one marketing is don't limit your market with some of your branding and that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, you know what? If Texas, there's enough people in Texas where that's a big enough market. We're good. 23 million plus people, whatever it is now. And but we've sold probably 35% of our online direct sales, which is our primary channel outside of the state of Texas.
That's badass.
So we've basically sold to almost all 50 states and international. Yeah. And so people find it. We were laughing about how do people in Sweden find the podcast? How do they find the product? They do, and they're interested, and especially with the Texas thing. I think a lot of those customers outside the state were, maybe I call them expat Texans. They've moved to some other state, but they
Colorado.
Well, that's still Texas, really.
That was a good reason for moving to Colorado.
Well, I'm just saying they're still doing it.
They long to be back home, or there's just the mystique that Texas brings, and I think it's hardworking. I think it's the sort of the cowboy ethos, which we're not all cowboys. We don't all ride horses, but we should. Yeah, it'd be cool if we did, but we don't as much as we should.
Oh yeah.
But I think, when I moved here, I come from the Napa Valley, right? I moved here from there, and when I moved from the Napa Valley, it was very much like it is here. There's a few wineries, a few nice restaurants. Other than that, it was bumfuck California. Yeah. It was just country, like very country, But I can see, since I've been here for 1 year, rent's going up, more restaurants are popping up, more artisan producers are popping up, which for me is very, very exciting. You know what I mean? So I think in the next 10 years, this is going to be like Yountville will be in, but all it's going to take is the next chef that would be a Thomas Keller of Texas.
Yes.
Which is going to be me.
No mames.
I think
that's a guarantee. That's
claim it. Yeah, claim it.
But no, I'm not being cocky. I'm just being...
No, praise the Lord, man. He spoke to you. He told you.
You know what I mean? But no, he tells me to stop what I'm doing. That's what he tells me to do. But he tells me to. But I think, like, if anyone who's doing something worthwhile or notable as far as food and wine and what this area, all of them should be using your cast iron.
Yeah,
for sure.
Every single place.
And I think notable is quality. And I think that's the thing that on the product, what we do, but I think that what we need to see more of is quality. And I think, quality restaurants, like you're talking about, notable quality restaurants that get that. And, you can go into the whole party scene versus quality, and I think that you're going to get more longevity out of quality
Absolutely.
than you are out of the party scene, just because I think that that's fleeting.
Yeah. Quality over quantity.
But this place is like prime for it. I mean, there's some really nice restaurants. I'll give shout outs. A La Campagna and all their restaurant, that whole restaurant group is doing really stellar food. And then now like Prometheus Pizza, just a bunch of, just local folks that love making pizza.
Yeah.
Standard Provisions, just a bunch of like hippie kids in t-shirts and aprons cooking really good food, And that's what it's going to take to get.
And more people wanting to do it, if you can,
for sure.
Exactly.
Fredericksburg has
because you need a place to do so.
Yeah, the high school has a culinary program, and they're
I have a student that she works with me.
Yeah, and but it's starting in middle school right now. So they're teaching hospitality. The culinary. My daughter was in it last in 7th grade, and it's cool because I've seen in the past 5 years probably the school's really developing the whole hospitality thing because that's what Fredericksburg is now. It's a whole, community of business that focuses strictly on hospitality, and now we have what is that store on Main Street that sells kitchen appliances and stuff.
Lock, Stock, and Barrel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never remember. I'm sorry, guys. I know the owners too. My bad. Us as local. I'm going in there and seeing, great place.
Dude.
I'm getting inspired. So, your place is now opening up. We don't need, a big franchise store to come in, sort of the top or whoever, and do that shit. We have our own, Yeah. So that's really cool as well. But yeah, totally, man. I agree with you 100%.
I think it's just the tides of changing that people that love the baked bread, or people that love to raise chickens for the most perfect egg, or people who love the pigs that they raise for food. And then now there's cooks, young cooks here that normally wouldn't think about those things, because Cisco comes
every Thursday,
4 days a week, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
But to get something that was actually raised by somebody who gives a shit about the animal or the vegetable or whatever it is that they're growing, and has a passion for it. And now there's these cooks that are coming and saying, you know what, I want to mill my own wheat and make a pizza store.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. If you can do your own wheat.
In California, that's not new.
Yeah.
But here,
it would be cool.
It's completely new. It's all sprouted up since I've been here. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But it's. I know that I made the right move.
Yeah.
Of course.
You've seen the change. You've seen the change since you've been here, and
I'm used to that already.
Yeah.
I'm like wondering, why can't you get freshly milled flour? Why can't you get right?
We got
all
guys doing the beans here,
but you can.
Yeah.
All it takes is the chef not being lazy and complacent and getting on 290 and driving, and looking to the left or looking to the right.
Yeah, we got plenty of that.
And going in there, right? Local honey, local everything, and people love that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we've with preservatives and all the things that you find in all the foods in the grocery store, it's that more and more people are getting sick. And they don't know why.
More food allergies.
More food allergies, and it's crazy. And so and then you transport that stuff and then you store it. I remember we've got chickens, and the first egg from our own chickens, I was like, what, is this going to be okay?
Yeah. Leave it out?
Yeah.
Do I wash it? No.
Yeah. And then you ate it, and then I'm like, wait a minute. This thing, this egg is, less than 12 hours old, and the eggs that I've eaten my whole life are
months.
Months,
and they're fucking bleached.
So why was I worried about, a 12 hour or less old egg? It's like, what's wrong with our society that we're, so jaded on that now, obviously we eat them every day, but I think that that little bit of effort and trying to get healthier, I think that all the things that we do to preserve our foods, are frankly probably killing us. That goes. One of the things.
Blood pressures and all the sugar.
If you think about like the state, and I don't want to get like political or anything silly, but it's just the truth. The USDA is supposed to be out for this is the best of the food that you can eat. The head of the FDA or the USDA used to be the head of Monsanto.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think that's
Monsanto is banned in every other country but ours.
That's the one of the things that we on this health thing we look at too is our the smooth cast iron that we offer and what we do, is gives you non-stick principles right out of the gate. And talking about health and wellness is, you go into a Target or a Walmart to buy a new pan or whatever for a consumer. Steel. And most of them have a little bit of Lodge product. They got a little rack of Lodge stuff. You see that everywhere. And then the rest of the stuff is all made in China.
Cheap aluminum.
It's all coated with something. It used to be Teflon. Now it's something that they say is not Teflon. And it's better for you, but it's not. It's chemically coated. Hexclad. They market, and they've got big name chefs that support their stuff, and it's all got the same chemical stuff that when you first bring it home. And you put an egg in there, man, that thing is sliding around and it's crazy. Mm-hmm. But, 6 months, a year, 2 years, depending on how much you use it. And this goes for all the stuff that's, looks sexy on social media and on the internet too. And it's all expensive, frankly. And it's all chemically coated, and it works great, right out of the gate. And then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
It's a shit investment, man.
It's a terrible investment. And frankly, none of it's really cheap. At Walmart or Target, they start at $30, for a decent size, pan, and then some of the stuff online, even they got this green pan. Well, it's chemically coated, and they have all these statements about that it's safe for you. But they said Teflon was safe for you for 50 years, and then they said, "Oh, just kidding, we made a mistake on that." And so all this stuff, and so after day one, it keeps getting worse. And so why does it get worse? Well, because the stuff is wearing off. The chemicals are wearing off. They're either being washed off as you clean them, or they're transferring into your food because they create a separation between the food and the pan, and they got to go somewhere. So what they're doing is they're being absorbed into your food, and then you're ingesting those forever chemicals. Exactly. And forever is forever because it's with you forever. They're too small to process, and they're too small to move through the system, so they're staying with you.
Unless you take a major shit.
That's the thing with some of those pans. They should teach you how to use them because they're not made for. I'm a restaurant chef. And I'm a French restaurant chef. Yeah. High heat. Like
you can't do that on some of those.
You can see that shit melt in the pan if you get it too hot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100 degrees and it's like that.
Like to the point where the rivets get red and that Teflon stuff starts to bubble up.
Yeah, how scary is that shit?
I'm not eating that stuff. I'm not
total for weeks, bro.
Well, and then as you talked about, it's a crap investment because once they go bad, stuff sticks horribly to them, and then you got to toss them. And then what most people do is they go buy another one.
Yeah.
We did that. You need a nonstick pan to make eggs in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you try to get a nicer one or whatever, and they're $30, $40, $50, and before you know it, you're at $175 or $225 over a couple years or whatever, and you could buy what we're offering. You buy it once and it's forever.
But there used to be a time where 100% of the meals in your house were made at home.
Oh yeah,
in a pan, in a kitchen, at your house.
Back in the day, yeah.
And now it's too easy to be lazy. And how many people are actually cooking these days?
Yeah.
But when they do decide to cook, they want I want these Gotham steel hammered copper pans because they're gorgeous. And I saw the commercial and the eggs float around you know what I mean? Like floating egg, or what do you call it? Whatever.
Kitchen.
You know what I mean?
Floating eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd rather spend $200 on a pan that I can use
the rest of your life,
everything,
forever.
Yeah, for everything too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Forever. For everything and ever.
For everything, forever. And I think that's right too.
Is the tagline on the product?
Yeah, you can use it for everything. We use it for everything. We do our
forever, homie.
We go from eggs in the morning to simple grilled cheese at lunch, and then making steaks or.
But it's not chicken. Better a grilled cheese in a cast iron.
Yeah, it's great.
Man.
I did my last one on the grill. I have to.
Yeah, it's fun, and we make desserts. We make pies and all sorts of stuff in it too. So it's great.
I love how you can take it camping, and then you can just take it into the restaurant.
100%.
Take it to the fire. If you're cooking something over fire, just take it outside.
They're heavy enough if you need to get out of a situation.
Smack somebody with it.
It's a great weapon. It's a great weapon. And it protects you too from weapons.
Well, I think the other thing, we've talked to a number of people, more on the commercial side, and they're like, look, I got to use soap to clean it. Right in cast iron, most people, kind of push you away from using soap, or shouldn't use it, and that's kind of an old wives' tale, a little bit around, some of the soaps back in the day, lye-based soap would just chew away at any kind of seasoning, any kind of buildup that you'd have that
we
you
call
wanted
those
to keep.
mamadas. They're mamadas.
And but a Dawn dish soap or whatever isn't gonna do that. But the other thing is that with ours, with being smooth, it's mechanically smooth, so it's the base level is smooth. So you're really not seasoning to build up or to fill in voids and get to a smooth cooking surface that's nonstick. Ours has already been mechanically.
It's already 100 years old, man.
That's exactly right.
Because people are buying, they're going out to flea markets and it's like, oh man, I found this, cast iron pan. It's it's like 100 years old, and it's like the coating on that. You're paying for all that time
patina.
and use it. So it's like
so
a lot of work.
And so using a little bit of soap in a smooth piece like ours isn't going to hurt anything, just because you're not going to pull up seasoning there. Really, the oil that you put on it, what you want to call seasoning on ours is really to protect your iron. So you want to protect your iron so that it doesn't rust. It's cast iron, and all cast iron, if you don't protect it with something, is gonna rust.
Right. If you don't
use it. And as you get, as you use it, it starts, it goes from a copper color to more of a black color, and then you don't need to put a bunch of oil and do everything every single time, but you want to maintain it. You can, and I see videos of people and you can tell that they're maintaining it every time and they look awesome. They look great. Mm-hmm. And other people you can tell, aren't taking as much care, but they still work. They still perform exactly the same or very similar, no matter how much you take care of them. So it's simple. And that's one of the things we want to do is keep it simple, because there's so many stories about people who buy a Lodge skillet. They have a recipe. Somebody tells them about it. They buy it. They use it once. It's almost impossible the first time to get it clean. Don't forget soap, but just trying to use warm water and a sponge and then trying to dry it with a paper towel. You leave half the paper towel on because it's rough. It's like a piece of sandpaper. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, I hate this thing. And then they put it in the cabinet, still wet. Mm-hmm. And then they go to pull it out a month later, and the thing is rusted over. And then they were like, what do I do with this? And then they throw it away. Yeah. So that's the other thing, where we say, like, any piece of American-made cast iron, we're pro, but at the same time, a piece of, if you don't know what you're doing, a piece of Lodge cast iron is really hard to start using if you're a novice, and ours for a novice is super simple, So that's one of the things. Keep it simple, make it for your family, and enjoy cooking at home and having those meals that are special. And I think and getting away from going out to fast food and going out to eat and stop and spend
make the time, man.
Spend a little time with the family. Yeah.
So Jay, you were able to kind of conceptualize this idea of the cast iron, and then I like the story about how you kind of slowly kind of grew. So you took the idea to the market and you released a limited amount, and then you over a course of time released more and more. Was there another point in this story where you saw like a big jump, or you saw your name grow?
Yeah, we had a really, the sales continue. We had a really great opportunity to be profiled in Texas Monthly, and that was in the spring of 22. And so that was just incredible for us. Really with the Texas brand, they were excited about it. We were excited about it. And that was just an awesome opportunity for us. And it, our sales went crazy from that opportunity. Just continue to work on growing from there. And it's really adding more products. I get excited about product development, innovation. And you can argue some of it's innovation, some of it's, hey, taking something and making it that's made out of wood or made out of something else and making it in cast iron. But ultimately, we're doing a lot of cool things that other people aren't doing out of cast iron that I'm really excited about. I think we've, Leo and I work together, and he helps me with a lot of photography and supports that side and incredible imagery that he does. And so, we've got a number of products. Sometimes he looks at me like, bro, what is this? And other times he's like, this is badass. And if I get this as badass, and I know right out of the gate, but then later he uses it, and I'm like, okay, we're good. We're good. But we've got a smash burger press that I think is really truly unique, made out of cast iron.
Love it.
We've got another line, and so we've got a larger skillet that we launched, our number 12 skillet, which is our second skillet, and then we also launched a family of Kamals that we do. We've got a number 8, a number 12, and a number 14, and those are great. Those are just like a flat griddle, and they don't have handles. And we did that on purpose. And there's some out there that have handles, but they're smaller. And the problem is the handle just gets in the way. And so the comal is awesome for simple stuff, warming your tortillas, which is sort of a traditional
pizza
thing. It's
when you first brought that first comal, man, that thing was massive.
Yeah, it's big. That's our number 14. It's big.
I put it on my stove. It's like, God damn,
it's big, but it's awesome. I mean, we'll take a whole pack of chicken breasts, a big pack of chicken breasts, and we'll put them on at one time and get them, and we eat half of them for dinner. And we put the other half in the fridge and eat them, for lunch the next day or whatever. And the kids are always eating something.
I put mine on the fire pit, man. I built a little, like a little rack so we can hold this, the comal. So I can, put things, all my pans, shove them straight on the coal, and then the comal off to the side where one side stays really hot. So I can, it's great. If you're doing bacon, do the bacon on the comal and just scoot it over and leave it.
Yeah, we get a lot of, what's this for? When people see, we go to shows or whatever, they're like, what's this for? And then we explain it to them. They're like, "That's awesome." And then you get people who are like, "Oh, it needs a handle." And when we first launched it, and then I had a number of guys who were kind of in the cast iron sort of community online, and then one guy's like, I don't need another handle. I've got enough handles, so I kind of call it unencumbered real estate for cooking because different than the skillet, you don't have a wall. Right, it's got a little lip, so you can do liquids on there. So the chicken breast, or I do 3-4 pounds of ground beef and brown them at once, and there's enough wall where it keeps the liquids and everything contained, and so it's great because you got all that space, which is awesome. And then we do outside, we do it on the grill, do it on the smoker, we'll do it right over the fire. We do smash burgers with the smash burger press right on the live fire, which is awesome.
You do it all, man. Shit, you're Mexican.
It's awesome.
You do it all, and then it's not to mention you also had you have the ramekins, which are badass too.
Yeah, those are cool. Yeah, we started with the 6 ounce, and that's exciting. We're gonna over time we'll do more sizes of those. Those are kind of fun, and they're a little more expensive than your regular ceramic ramekins, but they're much cooler. And they've got I love a knurled finish, and so the top, and that's like it's got a little grip on it, or whatever. That's in kind of a machining term, knurled. But everybody's seen knurled. They've seen on their refrigerators and different things.
They have lids on
it. We're working on a lid.
That's funny because you have
we're gonna do a lid, and my wife, when I first launched them, she said this because she loves French onion soup, and she's like, if you get a lid for this would be awesome. And it's almost like the 6 ounce is a little bit smaller, but I'm gonna do a little bit bigger sizes. They're almost like mini Dutch ovens.
I'm thinking cassoulet in my head. Like a mini quail oven instead of cook oven.
But they're awesome. Yeah, they're awesome for like creme brulee or something like that.
Just presentation wise, it's.
Oh yeah, but I mean, if anybody's stupid enough at the table to reach over and fucking touch that thing, man,
they deserve it.
They're hot, but it's something.
It's like the person who touches the fajita pan.
It's
not that hot.
I wait. Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's sizzling,
but the shit is but it looks sexy as fuck.
Yeah,
and I mean, they're simple to use.
Well, they say you eat with your eyes first, right?
Yeah.
So you get this presentation of a beautiful cast iron crock with, I don't know, a stew or a cassoulet or a pozole or whatever.
Oh, shit, man. Chicken pot pie, right?
Or even polenta or grits.
Lo que sea.
Man. Well, I even see simple stuff. I tell people just put it, use it on your charcuterie board.
Oh yeah,
with some nuts or something in it. Just as something different. Everybody wants to design and make it look different, and so I think you got something truly unique.
But that kind of look is in vogue now, like the cast iron, wrought iron, like the different plates are like slate and they don't look like classic plates. Like when I was coming up, you had like beautiful plates.
Pure white.
Pure white. You
know what I mean? That have to get housed in a certain container or in a certain.
Yeah, so cast iron is in. Not only is it badass already, but it's in at the moment. So you should buy 10 of them.
And my new sort of passion on the products is rolling pins, and that's something we're gonna have. We're gonna have a cast iron rolling pin shortly. Like a French rolling pin, tapered down. And that'll be our first.
Imagine
size.
pastry, chill that thing,
and then we'll make different sizes. And they got it. You can't get huge with them because they get heavy. But sometimes there's certain applications where you want a heavy.
Oh, for sure.
But they don't have to be that big. I mean, you can make them thin.
The French. The first one we're gonna do is probably 14 inches long, and so it'll be a little heavy, but it won't be too bad. And then do smaller ones and more sort of like pastry ones that are small and different things, and
like dowels too. Or?
Well, just one.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, more so than just one piece design kind of thing, and stuff. But not like the ones that are like marble or whatever. So
Badass.
We're
I'm just
excited
thinking.
about that.
I'm looking at him. I'm looking over there
I know.
at JC. Is like, man, the fucking dowels would be
He's
badass.
like lighting
My
up.
head's
Let's start branding this
turning
shit, man.
oh,
It's like
shit.
it's just a fucking ride, right? Was it branding?
Yeah, no, I mean it's
Yeah,
cool.
it's
Yeah,
like,
no, I
yeah.
mean there's just a million sizes and different things that you know, and that's what gets me excited. Just
Yeah.
looking at that and saying, hey, you know, we could do all sorts of different sizes. And
Oh yeah, I mean,
You
you're
get
getting
different
pallet
applications
knives
and
and
things.
everything out of cast iron. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
there's-
Like kitchen tools and everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I was gonna say.
What cook wouldn't want? Oh, I got a cast.
Yeah, we got
iron.
another simple thing, you know, and
Pallet
some of it's simple is we have got a biscuit cutter that we just launched.
Yeah, I forgot about that shit.
And it's cast iron, it's a ring, it's all the outside's knurled, you know, again, so you can get the grip on it, and it's makes a really perfect size biscuit. And the other thing is you can use that as I use it for my kids to cut out the bread and make egg in the hole, which is fun.
dude.
Everybody loves egg in the hole, and then you toast the cutout, which everybody loves those pieces, And then great too. You can use it as your like a ring to do an egg, in the skillet to do like an egg McMuffin type thing, or whatever. And so there's a lot of different applications, and stuff is you can't hurt it. I mean, you can use it as a cookie cutter if you want to. And how many cheap cookie cutters do you squash because they're so cheap? They're so cheap, and they're inexpensive, but they're junk, and they when you need it and it falls apart on you, then what good is that? So.
I love how all these tools too are kind of like multi-purpose. Like you put the thought in, you're like, I could use this for this. I could use this for this.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about knives before we started the show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And talking about forget having 10 different knives, or Chef was talking about I don't need 20 different knives. Give me 1 or 2 knives that I can use for everything. And I think that having really good stuff that has tons of application, I think is awesome.
Oh, look at that bad boy right there.
Yeah, look at that guy.
Yeah, so that's so this is our we've got a meat tenderizer here that we also the plate that we use that's for our smash burger press, bacon press, whatever you want to do, tortilla press. And then we've got a smaller knob that goes with that. Yeah. And then this has a longer handle.
Yeah, he's saying this to everything. I just got up and went and grabbed.
Yeah, sorry, Leo. I know nobody's watching this, on video, but you can go on our website and look at this. So we're talking about the meat tenderizer, we're talking about the smash burger press, and we're talking about the biscuit cutter that made out of cast iron too, which is awesome. I
mean, they're sexy. You could probably sell those as jewelry, man, over at Vaudeville.
I had somebody ask me, a woman emailed
like a plug earring.
A woman emailed me and she said, I saw it in the picture. I couldn't get the scale of it. She goes, I thought you were selling a ring.
I thought it was like a bangle bracelet. They make an amazing bracelet. I need to talk to you about just getting something like that.
Yeah, it's much bigger than a ring, but it's still a ring.
You're not going to walk out of the studio without this. Your hand's coming off, and you get that around your wrist.
Yeah, and we get a lot of questions about care too. Caring for cast iron, and especially people are buying a little bit more expensive product. They want it to last, and you can keep it simple. I think that we tell people is that you really there's very few things you can do to hurt it. To hurt our cast iron, but you can make it look maybe not as the way you'd want it to look, and so there's a lot of cast iron care, and the scary part, not scary, it's not really scary, but there's a lot of bad information out on the internet, and so we've talked to people who've tried to do these 50-step things to start using it, and I tell people to start using it.
You put it in the oven upside down.
Yeah,
like 500
I had
degrees.
talked to a guy. He put vinegar on it.
Oh my God.
He did all sorts of crazy stuff, and he's like, "It's not working right. Everything's sticking because he put all sorts of goop on it."
Pray to the Virgin Mary.
You don't need to do that, and you really just need to use it. And I think temperature. The big lesson to learn is temperature management. And Chef just talked a little bit about searing, and getting it super hot. And I think that there's obviously there's applications for that. And a pro doing that is a little different than an everyday user. And so, I really tell people to get a temper the heat, for, if you're doing eggs, for example, you're making scrambled eggs, you're making a fried egg. I always tell people that, I get pictures from people and they're like, what happened? And I can tell immediately that they had it on high heat and they're blasting the heat through the cast iron. And it looks like the blowtorch was taken to their stuff and it's all sticking to it.
The oil's probably all burned off already.
Yeah. So you really need to, in most applications for a regular user is really start at a medium, preheat it, preheat it. That's the thing about cast iron. You can preheat it for hours if you want. It's not going to hurt anything. And then back it off to a medium low when you're going to drop your scrambled egg, your eggs in, or your fried egg, or or even whatever else you're putting in there. Now searing steaks is different. Put it up, get it into the broiler, get it at 500 degrees, bring it out, low heat, and just put a little heat on it, but then, flip it and, hit it quickly on each side and then move forward. So searing in everyday cooking, and doing the eggs and that kind of stuff is a little different. But for most applications, I tell people you don't need to blast the heat because it retains it. So get it up to medium, get it really, let it go for 10 minutes, or whatever. And then, back it off, then start cooking.
Yeah, I usually crank it, like I get it super hot until I can see it starting to smoke a little bit. I'll put a little oil or drop some water if it beads and hops out. Then I turn it down and just let her sit. And I'm not going to use it for a minute, but I just want to get to that temperature. And everything I cook on there just...
Yeah. And it stays. It's
just steady. Yeah.
That's what I love about that, man. Because, I mean, you take it off, next steak's ready to go. You don't
but
have to
it's like the same sizzle, right?
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
the same intensity of sizzle. Like, if you use like a stainless steel or a copper pan, you get it hot and
it's going to drop, man, like 5 degrees. Yep.
And then you have a piss ton of water.
Oh, yeah.
Then you got a brown steak. Yeah. Gray steak. A gray steak. Fuck.
So you're losing volume and flavor from your product because it's steaming in the pan. Whereas cast iron, you're doing what exactly you want.
Every time.
Color.
Well, that's we try to teach people that too a little bit, and there's more and more of this, but everybody likes to cook their steaks on the grill. But how much you guys know this, and how much of your moisture and fluids are you losing into the grill?
Up inside the grill.
So I'm telling people, you still use the grill, cook outside, but put the skillet out there on there and drop your steaks into the skillet, and then you're retaining all that moisture.
You're still getting the smoke.
That's right.
Whatever you're cooking.
From the fire,
right?
whatever. Yeah.
I mean, I think like a gas grill is just like a slotted saute pan. I mean, you're not getting flavor. Right? You know what I mean? It's just a way of cooking outside. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
To stay away from your wife or whatever, or your husband, or whatever it may be.
Have a cigar, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll go cook the steaks on the grill.
I know.
I'll be back.
It's like walking the dog.
You should have been here
right?
You should have been here last week. Was it last week?
Oh, we cooked that tomahawk.
Yeah. 3 ribeyes.
Yeah, I saw you guys. I saw that one.
Can you guys invite us when you're not cooking? What's up?
Oh, dude.
So late, man.
I know. Next time.
We had
sure.
We had boneless buffalo chicken.
Yeah, it was good.
Lunch, man.
It was legit.
So, anyways, going back to I'm not thinking fucking food, man. I'm hungry now.
I want wings.
Yeah, that's a problem having a food podcast.
No shit.
You get hungry the whole time.
I'm thinking, what do I have in the fridge right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so back. So now you have all this cast iron stuff, the product that you put out, and now hand tools.
Hand tools. Yeah, we got all sorts of stuff. Knives has been one. So, Leo and I kind of came across roughly about the same time and kind of shared the contact with a guy who makes knives out. He's in West Texas now, far West Texas, and he forges knives, and we hooked up with him, and he's provided us with knives, and we sell some limited release knives. We've had 6 or 7 releases of his knives. Sergio Menchaca. Yeah, he's an incredible guy. He's actually he's a high school superintendent, independent school district superintendent, and then he does this as a stress reliever on the side. Yeah, and awesome. He said his daughter
works, probably more than a stress reliever.
Yeah, and his daughter. He said his daughter's starting to work with him, and it's but he makes some incredible knives. He actually uses recycled material, and I love that story about the cast iron. All the cast iron's recycled, but he's using recycled old plow blades and things that he actually has found here in Fredericksburg previously, and he forges his knives out of that material.
Pretty cool,
and they're incredible.
They're badass knives, man.
Incredible.
I can't wait. Chef Leo gifted me a knife, and I'm gonna sharpen her up first thing in the morning, and I'm gonna cut everything inside.
And you're gonna tag Sergio. You're gonna tag for cast iron. You're gonna tag Leo.
Sergio loves it. He'll love to get tagged, and he. But his products, he does a really good job, and he does.
Send me the links. I'll tag everybody.
Yeah, he does. All sorts of unique handles for the stuff that we offer. I've wanted just a simple mesquite. We do a lot of other, some spatulas and other things that we sell that are made out of mesquite. Texas branding type stuff, and can't get mesquite pretty much anywhere else other than here in Mexico, and so it's a great material. It's hard, and you can wash it in the sink, and so it works great. So he does some simple mesquite handles for us on the knives, and they come out great. But he's done some for Leo that have some more advanced, kind of cool looking handles.
He
but
does
he
amazing
does
work.
some crazy handles. I've seen some crazy handles he's got on his website and it's on his socials that are pretty cool.
My favorite one, he does a prickly pear resin where he takes the prickly pear, juices it, and mixes it with resin and pours it in the handle.
Oh, wow.
The hollow stuff,
Dang.
Is that the blue one?
Yeah,
Yeah, we've now, through our releases of those, I've got mostly, the same people have bought them. So there's a number of people.
Oh, they're
who bought them
collecting
from
those
us
things,
who are making they're making a knife roll of
and
all the different knives.
And they sell fast. I mean, your cast iron sell like in 30 minutes, man. These knives.
Yeah,
too.
they sell pretty quick, and they're expensive. I mean, you look at high quality, handmade, hand forged knives. They're super expensive. But again, our thing is, buy something once and cherish it and take care of it.
And you're buying local. You're buying local. You're not buying,
100%.
That makes it even better. And
keeping the money in the local ecosystem is
It's important. Yeah, no, it's important, and we need to get away from buying stuff from just it's cheap or it's easy, from China or overseas, and I mean, you got to stay away from that. Yeah, you got to stay away from. I mean, it's all junk, and you're just because it's cheap doesn't mean you should buy it. And having something high quality and that's going to last.
There's cheap and then expensive, right?
Yeah,
there's a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're really cool, and we do a number of leather products and things there that are really good. Obviously, everybody loves leather and the high quality on that. So we've got an apron that a guy actually makes for us, and we designed it with him, and it's it's the last apron you'll ever buy. It's incredible.
No, dude, it can you can go through a apocalypse and it'd be like
yeah. Things awesome. So really cool products there, and then going back to the care, we do have a seasoning blend that we just recently launched. Because we just had a lot of questions. What should I use? What product should I have? And we've actually
and it can double as a pomade. I see.
It could use. Yeah, that's really. I mean, it's.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's an avocado oil and a beeswax, Texas beeswax, and a little bit of olive oil.
You can eat that.
And we've recently, the other thing we've kind of going back to sort of health and wellness. We started pre-seasoning with grapeseed oil, and there's got a number of questions from people around the seed oil thing. A lot of people concerned about seed oils. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it really hasn't gone mainstream, but there's a number of people that, looking at their health and wellness and that kind of stuff. And so we had a lot of questions about seed oils and the grapeseed oil that we were using. And so we've recently moved to our pre-seasoning now is 100% avocado oil, and it does great.
Nice.
So, so we just, as we want to tell a story about, health and wellness and, the products that we talked about earlier that are all coated and, come from overseas and, are not really good for you and probably been killing us for years. We wanted to go away from the seed oils too, as we were telling that story, and the avocado oils work great for us. And it's important to.
But it still has a seed. It's got a big ass seed in that avocado.
Yeah, but it's actually the pulp, that is pressed out to make the oil, and so it does great, and it.
And it's high heat.
It performs awesome. Yeah, and it's high heat. Yeah, that's the key. You got to season. I've talked to some people that try to do a high heat seasoning round with like an olive oil.
Yeah,
and it's not. And it smokes out their whole house. And so
and it's toxic, man.
So we use a little bit in our blend, but it's the third. It's a smaller ingredient amongst the other two, and so. But you got to use a high heat. So, the grapeseed is great for that. It's got a high heat and it's a little bit less expensive. Avocado, a little more expensive, but it's got the high heat. And so but it works great and it does a good job for the pre-seasoning and the results are similar, if not a little bit better than the grapeseed.
I always use animal fat
to
season.
Tallow.
Pans.
Yeah.
Pork fat, whatever.
Manteca.
Usually duck fat. I have.
Because you're French, of course. I mean,
so much.
You gotta use duck fat.
Yes, I like duck fat. Sorry,
it's great.
No mames.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Tallow. We get tallow now from Acre Barbecue here in town,
oh, nice.
And he's got his rendered down smoked tallow from his briskets, and he's using Wagyu briskets, and so man, that stuff we make French fries in it.
High-end French fries.
Oh man, it's good.
It is good.
Man, dude, I'm on a diet. You're fucking up with my.
Yeah, I know.
My deep fryer at work is filled with duck fat.
I know.
So Jay, let me ask you this:
on my table,
from the process when the cast iron starts to the time it's finished, how long does that take normally? Like what is something like that, the process like?
Yeah, it goes. It's relatively quick. There's about a 10-step process of kind of handling and machining and polishing and pre-seasoning. We batch them, so we don't go necessarily. People always ask me the question, how long does it take to go from here to here? And we could probably go through the whole process in maybe 2 hours or so for one. But we don't do it. We batch them. So we'll do the first process, we'll do the second process together, and then we'll just keep moving them through, through the machines, and then and they're big machines, big CNC machines that we use to do the machining and the polishing, and
they're literally like 8 by 8 room, man.
Yeah, they're big.
These things are massive.
They're big. Yeah, I mean, and that was the other thing. You probably wouldn't do what we're doing, unless you didn't have that capability, existing in there. So that we've been blessed to have that opportunity, and I think that that's something that I'm excited about. Is I think really in the space, not only in the cast iron space here in America, but in the machined, is that I think that we're, if not the only one, maybe one of two that are actually doing all that manufacturing ourselves. So a lot of our competitors will get them cast at a foundry like we do, and then they'll send them to a machine shop, a third-party machine shop, get a machine, and then they'll bring them and they'll season them, and then they'll sell them. So we get them cast at a foundry over in Corsicana, Texas, so 100% made in Texas, and then we'll do all the other processing here in Fredericksburg at our place. And so we have that capability and ability to do that, as well as the ability to do some of the other products that we talked about. So that's the exciting part that I think is the innovation, because we have the machining capabilities and the knowledge and the relationships, that we can do a lot of the other products that we talked about earlier. The smash burger press and the biscuit cutter. I mean, those are things that are right in our wheelhouse about manufacturing and what we call turning on the lathe. And so we have those capabilities. And so we can do lots of different things, and that's where I'm excited to differentiate ourselves.
Everything
from the competitors. Yeah. I think kitchen cookware. That's kind of our thing. Is that we want to not only just be a cast iron skillet player. We want to look at everything that you have in the kitchen that could be made out of cast iron. We're gonna try to.
It's almost coming from like a product to a brand. You gotta like. I think I see you in 10 years, 20 years, possibly being in major retail.
Yeah,
for that one product.
Well, and that's I'd love to have enough stuff where we can have an appropriate retail location and have an experience. Have the Disney World of cast iron, and you come in there here in Fredericksburg, and you get a chance to get a drink and have a cigar and have something to eat and buy some cast iron.
Before you know it, you're going to be offering tour guides and shit. Buttercrust and
and we already do. There's tons of people that come and visit us. And they want to see the process.
Yeah.
And so we take them through tours of the shop, and there's a lot of different things going on there still.
But you don't want to promote this because you don't want anybody is showing up every day.
It's hard. Yeah, we got a lot of things going on. So we're doing the other products for our other customers, and so it's not the easiest thing to take them through because there's a lot of just moving parts. But I love to show them, and I love people just are wowed by what we see. But the machines are big, so that's the first thing is you see. Machines that are big, that are moving big parts very, very, very fast. And that's just, to me, that's fascinating. I think other people are fascinated by that.
Oh, yeah, totally, man.
And then, and just seeing people actually making stuff, and you look around America, there aren't, in your business, you're making stuff all the time. You're making food and you're making product, you're taking raw materials and making a finished good. Mm-hmm. But, there are a lot of people don't have a chance to see how other products are made. They buy a car and they just think that it's all voila, it's just all there. But there's thousands, tens of thousands of pieces that are made by
people
somewhere,
a lot of people.
And that go into that. And so it's critical to have manufacturing, and I think it's critical to make sure we're doing more and more of that back here in the U.S. I think that we've given a lot of our manufacturing away, and it was ill-advised.
Very sad.
Ill-advised. Yeah. And I read a book about the apparel industry recently, and we just gave all that away. And we sold all the machines and the equipment and destroyed communities, and to save a buck, or maybe 10 cents in some cases, so, we need to bring those capabilities back to the U.S. and strategic things, A, and then, B, and, capabilities. But all these things come from somebody. And if you lose the capability and the knowledge of how to do it, it's gone.
Yeah. And you don't have to think big. It's great to think big and dream and possibly execute on those dreams. But I mean, if you think you're not capable of something like that, I mean, there's simple things that you can do, like just gardening and growing things, here that could,
Yeah, I think that,
benefit us.
my favorite thing about entrepreneurship is, is the quiet time when you're by yourself or with your family or a friend or a spouse or whatever, and you're creating something. Like it's not, it's fun to launch it and get the sales or, people saying, hey, that's great, I love the product. But to me, my favorite thing is when, you're in the morning and you're thinking about an idea and you're creating. That's and again, if you don't have the manufacturing, it's hard to create because you don't know how to. You're like, what would that's great, I can come up with an idea, but I don't know how to get it made. And if you can put the two pieces together, dreams can come true. And that's kind of the cool piece, that I think if you lose the manufacturing, you're just losing that ability to say, what else could we do? And that's kind of where we are. It's like, hey, starting and having success with the first skillet, then it was like, what else could we do?
Yeah.
And we've got a loyal following who love our high quality, the uniqueness of what we're offering, the brand, et cetera, and the performance.
You became credible overnight, man.
Yeah, you pull something out of the box, and it's our number 10 skillet, 6.5 pounds, and it's solid.
Yeah,
there aren't parts falling off of it. It's not something that's a piece of junk coming from Asia or whatever. It's
a badass piece of shit.
It's solid, and it's like, this is real. This is real. This is something that's going to last, and from there, then what else can we do to continue that branding and that story and bring things to people that are going to last forever.
Well, I also love too how it's like, I love how Chef Leo brings it up. He's like, well, you became credible overnight, but like there's also like this legacy that's behind all of that, because you were talking about how it was your father's machine shop, so it's like a part of his legacy too, that is kind of woven into the story that you're telling through this product.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, there's a number of stories on that, but he ran the business here in Fredericksburg and very involved in the community and things, and people knew about the machining business, which is called Heartland Enterprises. But they didn't really know exactly what we did. We were kind of like the Chandler Bing of businesses in Fredericksburg, where people knew we were here and they knew that we had a business, but they didn't really know what we did, because it's not. Right. A part that goes into a commercial jet engine, it's hard to kind of put the pieces together. When you see it, you're like, what is that? Like, and I don't understand the questions to ask about what's happening with the machines and all that kind of stuff. And so, more people have asked him about cast iron, and he doesn't cook. So more people have asked him about cast iron since we started this than they did maybe about the other business, which is kind of funny. And it's just a little analogy that I think is interesting. But yeah, the legacy helps. I mean, going back to having the capabilities and the equipment to create new businesses. Again, going back, because we had that legacy, we had the ability to create something new out of that. And
people just rallied behind it. You had to support seriously overnight. Yeah. Once especially when you see, how badass the product looks just on the screen. But once they get it, it's like,
and it took a minute. I mean, I think that, they're doing it every day. I think you see that there were people who, were skeptical. Just because, going back, I think there's a number of people who have tried to leverage the Fredericksburg brand for their own benefit, but that's all they were doing is leveraging it. Right. They weren't trying to give back to the community.
And they obviously didn't know the product. They had no idea that there is such a thing as a high-end cast iron product. It's just not.
Yeah, so it took a minute, but I think we did. I mean, I think that once we proved that, hey, look, when we're here, because people are like, you're not making that here. And we've proved to people very quickly that it's made here. We've given them tours. I've told people, come over and see it. I'm here. Come on,
it's real,
and it's here. And so we're past that point now. But it's made right here. I think there's people who still don't want to believe it. Because I see some
haters,
other products that they try to say that they're made in America, and I can tell that they're not made in America, but they're, country of origin. They say USA, and they loophole that somehow. It's not. You can tell that it's not made in America.
Piece of shit.
It's important that it's made in America, and and some people don't care, and that's fine, but I do, and I think it's critically important. Again, just that we have that infrastructure here where we can all learn and grow from that, and you give that up, and you give up a lot of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in many ways, it changed the culture from a producing culture to a consuming culture.
100%.
So I think what you're saying is getting back to becoming more producers. Yeah. And that's why Leo was saying, it's like, and Chef Jean-Claude JC was like, just go plant a garden. Jean-Claude was telling us a story earlier about how he was putting gardens on roofs when he was a chef working for
Palantir Technology.
Yeah. And taking a whole animal and just using every part of the animal,
Little things, man.
Yeah, little things.
You can contribute. You could be a producer in your own way.
But these are things that have been going on forever.
It's just getting back to that.
I mean, like, what's that song? There once was a home where the buffalo roam. Now there's no home where the buffalo roam. You can get drive-through Starbucks and Lululemon all day long. Mm-hmm. But when's the last time you seen a damn buffalo?
Yeah.
It's been
last
a while.
week in Stonewall for me.
It's been a long while.
Yeah, I was going to say Rome Ranch. They're doing some cool things. Yeah. But going back to what we were saying, they're trying to produce food. That's done right, more locally, and how do we use our land, and how do we do that? But that's creating. And I just think that there's something incredible about being able to create and bring something to yourself and your own family, as well as then to others from there. And we've gotten so far away from that, and luckily we still have some of that. I think here in Fredericksburg and Gillespie County, we're far enough removed where people have to be self-sufficient still, not 100%, but still there. And I think that the cutting edge of going back to where we were, I think that's going to happen faster here. But I love, you look at these shows about high-end restaurants and stuff, and they've got their own farms, and the chefs are doing it. They act like they're doing the farming themselves, and they got they've got whole staffs that are taking care of that stuff. But I mean, how great is that? That they're slaughtering the hog right there, and you're getting your beef, from there, or you at least know who's making it. And I think there's a cool show. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's called Dirt. And it's a show, he's not a chef, but he goes around and he goes to different regions and cities and goes to different places and picks up food, and they have a dinner when he gets all the different things, and so it's really cool because he'll go to more craft guys who are doing meats, and
he's on YouTube.
He's on YouTube, and
I've seen that.
He's sponsored by a clothing brand called Huckberry.
Yes. I've seen that.
Now I know.
It's cool. Yeah, it's really cool, and he's kind of a fun guy, and he goes and has fun around these different places and stuff, but it's really cool, and he's picking up some beers, or he's picking up whiskey that's made, and he's picking up the food items, and he's bringing it all back, and then a chef makes it all, and they have a party and stuff. It's kind of fun. It's cool to see, but it goes back to this that in these locales there's cool stuff happening, but you got to stop for a minute and go find it. And take advantage of it.
And that's the problem. You shouldn't have to. It should just be already here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it ain't coming.
It's no, it's not at all. The largest pig producer in the United States is owned by a Chinese company.
It's true. Smithfield? Smithfield?
I mean, that's...
Yeah. There's not enough of us doing
No.
No one's...
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I know there's people doing beef, and there's people doing the Rome Ranch is doing their stuff with the buffalo, and you can get poultry and things like that.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
I source the way I source.
Is anybody doing pork stuff?
Oh yeah, I have two local guys. I have one guy out of Doss, Waymaker Farms. Okay. That's raising pork, and then
there's also Zanzenberg. Have you heard of them?
They're them, and then there's Rowdy Roost out of Seguin. That does an amazing job, and they're the only company I've seen, and he's a friend of mine, but he's the only company I've seen that does a non-gavage foie gras. So his ducks in the winter, some will produce foie gras without being force-fed.
Wow. So it's like an anomaly.
It's I get those ducks when they're harvested.
Yeah.
Those are my ducks, and I get the livers. But
it's weird.
It's almost like they've tried to scare us off from buying local and doing that. We just started investigating and buying some raw milk from a person over on the other side, on the west side of not Stonewall, Harper. And you go up and they got an honor system, and you drop your money in, and it's there, and they have it open, a couple hours a day and stuff. But you read about raw milk, and
they're trying to scare you.
And industrial farmers in the big markets, trying to scare you that you can't drink. It's going to kill you. Microbes and all this. I mean, that's how people drank milk for millennium. And now you can't do it. Like in the same, it's kind of I'd laugh at the same story as about my first egg, from my own chicken. It's like, what is this? And it's like, this is how you're supposed to eat chickens. Chicken eggs.
Me how much?
Yeah. And well, after I built the chicken coop, I'm still paying that back.
I know.
But,
well, that's the thing. It's like the food system here is turned into the food system in this country is broken, like 100% broken. And I don't know who's to blame, but I know money is to blame.
Well, money and convenience and having a store or have a long shelf life. All of our bread. I mean, it's like it's all built to have a shelf life.
Look at all the food allergies now, and it's all because of the GMO nonsense. And if you eat food the way it was raised, it's supposed to be raised, like cows that eat what they're supposed to eat, pigs that eat what they're supposed to eat, you're never going to get sick. Ever. The minute we start putting our hands in shit to make it more cost effective or
last
longer, product longer, or give it a better shelf life,
make them bigger. It's chickens.
You're playing God, and it's nobody's place to do that but His.
Yeah, that's true. I like that.
Unless you're the chosen one. Yeah.
Well,
my name is JC.
Very
far from that one.
That'd be me, man.
I'm playing around with a little bit of coffee. Concoctions a little bit, and
like making your own coffee in the morning.
Well, not making my own coffee, but making some energy drinks using coffee and things. But and there's a guy who's roasting coffee here locally, which is pretty cool, and that's nice to have here in the community. And he's in a lot of different restaurants now and stuff. But
is that Drew?
Is that Cartwheel? Mm-hmm. That was his partner, and his name's Pete. Cool. And he's actually doing the roasting, and just down the street from here, actually.
Yeah.
And he's got a whole bunch of different coffees, Fredericksburg Coffee Company, and he's got some cool stuff, and he's done some great. His branding looks pretty cool and stuff. And but the thing about you look at sugar, and you kind of the same thing, and everybody's like, well, it's sugar free. They want to drink a drink that's sugar free, kind of a Red Bull or something. What's sugar for C4, sugar free, but there's still a sweetener there, and it's artificial. And so now they've vilified sugar, that you shouldn't be drinking sugar or, consuming that much sugar. But they want you to say, well, there's still got a sweetener in it. And the sweetener's aspartame or whatever else, which that stuff, again, that's going to be one day they're going to, somebody's going to wake up and be like, oh, whoops, just kidding.
Like Teflon.
That stuff actually is killing you all. Sorry, we just really didn't know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, it's 50 years later, and how many people have had cancer and other things because they ate that stuff because your body can't metabolize it, can't work through. So, it's like they've vilified real sugar, and real sugar is what you should be, okay, that's okay if you're using that.
Yeah. Like the stuff in Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Like Mexican Coke.
Yeah, that's right. Pure cane or whatever, it's back to the Coke.
I didn't say it this time.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, a French press. How about that?
Yeah, French press. That's cool. That's another thing is making sure you can make your coffee no matter what happens, with their electricity or anything else. And
do it right.
Yeah, the people in Houston, they like a French press right now to make their coffee without having energy
Poor
for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Café de la olla.
Yeah, that's even better.
Camping coffee.
I know.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Jay, what a fabulous interview I think that we had with you.
Right. This is the second time, by the way. We recorded this.
We did a test. Test round.
Technical difficulties the first time.
I'm so glad we did it the second time, man. We got a bonus.
I think we've been practicing. Well, you gave me a chance to practice, and you guys have been practicing a ton. So I'm happy to participate. It's been fun.
Yeah, we got bonus. Sit in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good, man. So worth it. So what are we doing now, man? What are we doing for? Do we have a recipe of the?
Yeah. So like we have a recipe for every food theme for every episode. So for Jay's episode, we're doing something grilled.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Because cast iron grilled. Yeah.
It just plays right into his product, and I'm probably going to use your cast iron skillet in some way with this recipe.
Perfect.
So. And I think it's perfect because it's the time of year too. I mean, it's summer, so
You've got pictures and recipes that you've done at home, right?
Well, yeah, we've got all sorts of recipes.
So you don't even have to recreate. You can just send it to me.
Yeah, we've got a number of recipes, and my favorites. I like the simple stuff. So I'm not an advanced chef by any stretch, but I love the smash burger. Smash burger press on the Kamal or whatever outside over the fire. That's my favorite. And I've got a lemon pie recipe that's in the skillet that is simple, super simple. Graham cracker crust, which is easy. Mm-hmm. And I'm scared of regular pie crust. I'm not a pie crust guy, so I'm scared of pie crust. But the graham cracker crust is incredible and super easy. And
a lot of butter too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's a lot of lemons.
So if somebody wants to go to your website and look at these recipes and buy product, where are they going? Yeah,
so fbgcastiron.com.
Yeah.
And then we're our main social channel is on Instagram, and that's FBG_cast iron.
Nice.
And we're posting. We post multiple times a week, and trying to get
pictures look sexy as
content out. A lot of the pictures are from Leo, so you gotta take that for what it's worth. But a lot of the pictures are awesome, incredible. He's done a number of incredible photos for us. And,
Jay, man.
And I'm using the iPhone. We try to do some action photos of the production process that people like. People like to see, the making of in the process. So we do a number
behind the scenes
stuff.
Love
we
it.
do that, and so all sorts of content out there.
Dude, that's badass.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me over, Chef. And guys, it was such a great conversation, and I look forward to next week.
Yeah, brother. Thanks for being here, brother. It was great. Jay, man, thanks for coming in the second time and putting up with us.
Yeah.
And we'll see y'all soon.
Bye.
Ciao.